hablar francés o bajar la luna hasta tus pies. Yo solo quiero darte un beso y regalarte mis mañanas, cantar para calmar tus miedos. Quiero que no te falte nada.
PS 19 bailarines. And Miss Camila is their principal. And PS 19, Roberto Clemente, this is their ballroom dance club. They are a 3-time champion for the city of New York. At this time, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome and address this house, his house, your house, our first African-American borough president, who wants to unify Brooklyn like ever before, who wants to work for the people of Brooklyn, who wants to deliver for the people of Brooklyn. Quiero darle y presentarle lo que es un nuevo presidente del condado de Brooklyn, el primer afroamericano elegido en este borough, en este condado de Brooklyn, deseando lo que es unificar nuestras comunidades para trabajar por nosotros, con nosotros. Le quiero presentar a Eric L. Adams.
The city of New York is so fortunate to have a family that has committed their life to public service. And I have been kissed by God to spend the first half of my public service career with Diana's husband as a police officer, and now to spend the second part of the career with his wife, walking the beat of the city in a blue police uniform, and now having a partner to walk in the blue suit in Borough Hall. How great is it? We are at a good place, and I just want to take a few moments and speak with you and allow the program to flow. I want to thank all of our honorees and Rick Miranda, who's a good friend, and all those who have partnered with us. And earlier this week, we had the Italian heritage, and I just want to also share with you what I stated to them. Many years ago when I was a mechanic, there was a period of time when you have to come in each year to have your car tuned up, because there was this timing belt that would get off center and not allow the car to move if the two dots were not lined up. And you have to come and realign, recalibrate the vehicle so it can move smoothly. And that is what these moments are. It's an analogy to our life. Having a Heritage Day is not a mere insignificant moment taking place on the stage of Hispanic and Latino history. It is a moment of reflection. It's a moment of renewing our spirit and our energy of what we have to accomplish and what we have to do. It's a moment of understanding that all across this place we call America, people had to eke out a living. Early arrivals who came here, if it was early Chinese building a railroad system that they couldn't ride on, early Jews still with the stench of burnt flesh in their nostrils from Nazi Germany coming here, early Italians living in the Lower East Side and being stigmatized because of who and what they were, early Hispanics all over the globe. Your parents had to find a way and the difficult challenges. When I hear Diana tell me sometimes of the stories of her mother not understanding English, but still wanted to provide a way for her. And now her mother is able to see the first Latina as a borough-wide elected in the borough of Brooklyn. That's the history we're talking about. And so, when we have these moments, when we have these days that we come here in Borough Hall and just recognize the diversity of this borough, it renews our spirits. As the fight continues, when you have early arrivals of Mexicans who are trying to find their way in America, early Pakistanians and Yemenis and other groups that are trying to find their way, and it must re-energize us and remind us, just as our forefathers and parents went through the struggle, we must have an open hand. The greatest exercise we can participate in is to bend down and pick someone up. Too many people are suffering from spiritual obesity because they never reach down and pick someone up. Well, not while I'm borough president and Diana Reyna is a deputy borough president. Brooklyn is going to become a compassionate borough where we realize that we are not human beings with spiritual moments, we're spiritual beings with human moments, and our spirituality is going to be explored in this borough of Brooklyn. And people looked at us and say, well, why are you doing meditation and yoga? Because we understand that if Brooklynites don't start to find their true purpose and true meaning and stop living under this guise that they're not in pain, then they'll never be able to help someone else. We have to allow people to find their purpose and allow them the ability to live beyond those hardships that they're facing every day. People are hurting. And hurt people hurt people. They do mean things. 2 young boys raped 2 young girls in public school today. A 3-year-old child was beaten to death. We are no longer living our lives on the front pages of the books. We're living our lives on the back pages. We're more concerned with who won the World Series than who's going to save the world. Not while I'm borough president. Diana Reyna is a deputy borough president. And so today is our day, a moment of reflection, a moment of honoring these great leaders, a moment of deciding how do we renew the year and move forward and stay focused. I'm excited. I'm excited what Brooklyn is going to become. I made the best choice I can by picking a deputy that shares that level of excitement. My beat may have changed, but my feet are the same. I'm moving the borough the direction that it ought to go in. We are going to do a solid 4 years, God willing, another 4. And then after that is over, I'm just going to take this quick hop across the bridge and occupy City Hall. And I hope you're coming with me, Diana. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
I would like to take this opportunity to express to our borough president, he has a second calling as well at the same time. While we occupy Borough Hall, he's also a preacher. And when he gets into his preaching mode, watch out, because Brooklyn has no idea how committed we are. And to see the partnerships and the many people who are interested in that agenda, it gives us fuel to move forward, porque es pa'lante que vamos. Pa'lante. Siempre pa'lante. I would like to ask Rick Miranda to come up and present a very special award, one that is not expected. And so at this moment, I'd like to ask President and CEO at Brooklyn Kings County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Rick Miranda, to come up.
Bienvenidos a todos. I've been told, Mr. Borough President, that I blow microphones, so I'll try to stay as far from it as possible. I wouldn't want to get a bill from Borough Hall. But I would like to welcome everyone to beautiful Brooklyn Borough Hall, the site of this magnificent event. Look at us. We're all over the place here today. I am sure I echo many others when I give my heartfelt thanks to the sponsors and creators of this event, Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams and Deputy Borough President Diana Reyna, Ponce de Leon Federal Bank, Metro Plus, and so many others, so many members of the chamber that you will be tasting what they have to offer this evening. I'm so very, very proud of them. They all helped to make this happen with their leadership in the community and assisting in the wonderful culture of Brooklynites coming together for a common goal of enhancing our community. It is wonderful to see that you value this work. National Hispanic Heritage Month to me means a great deal. A recognition of my heritage, Puerto Riqueño. Who I am and where I come from. I would like the public to know how warm we are and how much we appreciate not only being in this country, but being an integral part of the community. But I have another special couple of sentences to add to this. He was the police officer on the beat. He was the captain of a precinct. I think you all know where I'm getting at, who I'm talking about. He then became the senator of New York State. But he had a bigger calling. He couldn't just command a section of Brooklyn. He had to have it all of it. Last year, I got wind of our senator becoming the borough president of Brooklyn. So I quickly made an appointment with the borough president. The appointment was for half an hour. I kept him there for an hour and a half. That's the way I do. Now I think he knows a little better and probably going to get an egg timer for our next meeting. But what I walked away from that is, I got a new friend. The chamber has a new friend. Our community has a new friend. He listened to our programs. He asked so many questions that I knew he was interested in what we were doing and how important our work here is in Brooklyn. Today, the Brooklyn Kings County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, along with its board of directors, Vice President Juan Carlos Pocasangre, Senior Board Member Mr. Alex Zander Paz, who represents our veterans from the Marines. Hoorah! To my dedicated staff, who are all mostly students, because we are a teaching institution, my high schoolers, Mr. Brian Jimenez and Mr. Justin Delgado. My Berkeley College student, who is the president of his criminal justice program, Mr. Jesse Lamba, and my assistant. Our healthcare navigator and soon to graduate from John Jay College, Mr. Ron Diaz. Today, the surprise is an honor and a tribute to none other than our borough president, Eric Adams. Eric, your plaque reads, Ponce de Leon Federal Bank and the Brooklyn Kings County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce honors Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams as Legislator of the Year, Hispanic Heritage Month, and we are on our way to one Brooklyn. Was I loud enough?
Gracias, señor Miranda. We now would like to ask our partner, our sponsor, who we could not have done this without. I wanted to call up Ron Law, Director of Intergovernmental Relation, Metro Plus, who is a sponsor of this event, without whom support we could not have happened what is today's venue of many treats. And when you have real partnership in a corporation like Metro Plus, where they're not just promoting health or health care, it's about a well-being, taking into consideration the mind, body, and spirit. Thank you, Mr. Law. Come on up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of Metro Plus, we're very proud and pleased to be a sponsor of this program with the borough president. We'd like to congratulate the other sponsors and also the honorees who are about to get their awards this evening. Tonight is a time to explore and honor the Hispanic culture and heritage. This evening is an event that is a concerted effort on the part of the borough president to recognize the rich influence and inspiration that Hispanic heritage is offered within this county. Now, as many of you may already know, and I hope I'm not telling you anything which you don't already know, but in 1968 was the first time in which Hispanic heritage was recognized as a week. 20 years later, it was recognized by an act of Congress to become a month, which is why we're here today. Also, as we talk about first, not only do you have the first Latina deputy borough president, but there are a lot of contributions which Hispanics have made over the years. Now, a lot of you may think, or a lot of people may have you believe, that the first senator of Hispanic descent is somebody named Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio. But in 1935, Dennis Chavez was elected in the state of New Mexico to become the first senator to serve 6 years in the U.S. Senate. Also, you had in the 1950s, you had Manuel Fernandez. He was a World War ace, and he flew 125 missions while fighting on behalf of this country. Again, and a testament to the influence and the responsibility and contributions to which you have made to this country. And I think it is worthwhile that the borough president has taken the time to honor you, and I also think it's worthwhile that Metro Plus participate in this. Before I go, I'd like to thank PS 19 for their wonderful performances and the performance that comes, and we look forward to working with the borough president in the future.
And the greatest sponsor who Borough Hall and join us as part of our invitation. When we joined together our forces, we were able to ask Ponce de Leon branch manager Evelyn Bartolomeo. And I'd like to ask Evelyn and her team to come up. Evelyn? Thank you, Evelyn.
I have no words of gratitude and happiness for this great event. To me, it's a great dream come true, thinking that I started this event back in 2005 with Rick, and it was very small, and now it exploded. To me, I'm overwhelmed, and I thank each and every one of you for coming and joining us together. And I hope this is not the first, but a long time of a relationship. Thank you, Eric Adams, also. And I thank my staff And I thank Ponce de Leon for giving me that opportunity to express myself. Thank you.
And at this time, I'd like to start the presentation of our honorees. Ahora vamos a comenzar la presentación de aquellos que estamos tratando de dar un homenaje muy especial por su contribución. Y no es fácil elegir lo que son pocos, porque son tantos los gigantes que tenemos en nuestros barrios, en esta ciudad, en nuestro condado. So queremos comenzar. I'd like to begin asking Antonio Reynoso, our recent elected council member, my successor from Greenpoint, Williamsburg, Bushwick, and Ridgewood, Queens, to come up. I'd like the borough president to come up as we present this particular proclamation citation to Antonio Reynoso. Antonio is, Council Member Reynoso, is chair of the Committee on Sanitation, Solid Waste Management, and advocate for trash equity. Amongst the 5 boroughs, recently passed legislation requiring the Department of Education to report on guidance, counselors, and social workers in New York City public schools, and focusing on central issues like housing, education, and economic development equity, all of which are very important to the lives of every human being. And when we build one without the other, we do not function. And so thank you, Antonio. Le presento ese homenaje a Antonio Reynoso a través de Borough Hall. Antonio was also a student of PS 19. Yes. Thank you. Do you want to say a few words?
They asked me if I wanted to say a few words. I'm an elected official now, so I have to. Danny, can you hold it? So, all right. Bueno, bienvenido todo el mundo a Brooklyn Borough Hall. This is Diana's home, and the borough president has made it very clear, Eric, that this is everyone's home. And I've never seen so many events and so many opportunities for us to be here and be welcome like I have since you've been borough president. So I want to thank you for that first and foremost. And I just want to thank my family. And I know my mother is here. My sister, she's very proud. My sister and my nephew, Mark, but also my family from my community, the people that got me elected. They're here. Los Sures is here. Because, Eric, I want to let you know, when you invite one of us, you invite all of us. We come deep. And I just wanted to, I wrote a few things and I just wanted to say it. And it's kind of what it is to be Latino. ¿Qué es ser Latino? El ser Latino no es saber de azúcar, de las cañas del campo de la República Dominicana, sino de la voz de una salsera que se llama Celia Cruz. Para nosotros, el time out, ¿saben qué es el time out? Cuando metan un niño en una esquina. Eso no existió para nosotros. Nuestro padre tenía un regaño más grave que se llamaba el cuco o la chancleta. Un 3 golpe no es un abuso, sino una bebida saludable en nuestra comunidad. Sobre todo, ser latino es no olvidar dónde llegamos. Y yo nunca me olvidaré de dónde llegué. Y lo quiero dejar como mi amigo Walter Mercado, con mucho, mucho, mucho amor.
Just hearing this really dynamic council person speak, just something inspired me by doing that. In our future events, we are going to have those who speak English, those who speak whatever language we here, sit side by side each other, so we can start to learn how to communicate better with each other and translate. Because as I was being translated too, the beauty of learning from each other, we can't. It's one Brooklyn. It's one Brooklyn, and I want to let's make that happen.
I'm in. Thank you, brother.
That's my legacy. I share that with his mom. Bueno, ahora estamos honrados por tener la participación de la portavoz, primera latina en el Consejo Municipal. Es algo increíble. I'd like to now present to you what is the first Latina speaker in the city of New York, in the city council. My only regret is that I'm not there any longer. And it's important to understand that she still has a friend in Brooklyn, making sure that we're representing wherever we go, the city council and borough hall. And we want to honor our speaker, our Latina friend, leader, mentor, because she has driven the council to a whole new level. Speaker of the New York City Council, first Puerto Rican and Latina to hold citywide elected position, worked for over a decade in local activism, nonprofit organizations, and labor before being elected to the city council in 2005 as the Puerto Rican woman and Latina to represent her district in the council. Previously served as chair of the Committee on Parks and Recreation, finding equity was her first order of business for all parks. The founding co-chair of the Progressive Caucus. In 2011, she was one of 4 council members to pioneer the first ever participatory budgeting process in the city of New York. I'd like to welcome up here Melissa Mark-Viverito, our New York City Council.
Ahí nuestra banderita. Buenas noches a todos. Buenas noches, Eric. Un gran placer estar aquí con todos los que han sido honrados. And it's really a proud moment also because we have Diana Reyna, my former colleague, as Deputy Borough President for Brooklyn. And also want to recognize, obviously, there's a lot of people that are being honored here tonight, a lot of people that I've known over the years. So I want to congratulate all of you as well. And I'm very proud to receive this recognition from a great friend, someone who was very much supportive of my efforts, and I don't forget those things, and so I want to thank him for that. And Brooklyn obviously is the borough with the largest population, and it has such a beautiful diversity, probably has representation of every Latin American country, and the specific communities that have such beauty and the diversity are being represented by such strong colleagues as Carlos Menchaca, Antonio Reynoso, Rafael Espinal, I think who are all being honored tonight as well. It's been wonderful to serve with them. And I'm proud of this moment. I know it means a lot and has significance for the Latino community. Carlos being the first Mexican American, right, to serve in the city council. Me as the first Latina to represent in a citywide, in a position of citywide influence. I know it means a lot, and I don't take that lightly. I will say this: we are one Brooklyn, we are one city. But what is beautiful also is being able to affirm who we are as individuals. I know that my compass is being proud to be Puerto Riqueña, and for children in this city to be able to fully express who they are, right? Whether they're from the Caribbean, whether they're from West Africa, whether they're from whatever nation, we have to be able to be firm in our identity, and our culture is critically part of that. It affirms who we are, it gives us self-confidence, it gives us affirmation, and no one should ever see that as being divisive. That is what brings us together, in respecting and understanding that. So thank you very much for the recognition. Es un gran honor, un gran orgullo ser la portavoz y representando a la comunidad latina. Muchas gracias.
just really want to we need to really applaud our speaker again, and just what she means for countless number of young girls and young ladies who are really trying to find their way in this very challenging universe sometimes. And just her posture, her poise, her dignity, her respect, how she demands that people really realize the role of women, one, and two, the role of folks that are coming from the Hispanic diaspora. And she has really brought a level to government that just sitting back and just watching her navigate the challenges of a body that is historically all men and all white males in a very real talk. She's doing it. She didn't get there easily. She earned her way of being there, and we appreciate you very much.
Thank you so much, Speaker Melissa Mark-Viverito, her staff, for making sure that she was here, and we are blessed to have her stay for a few more minutes. I want to take this opportunity to recognize Council Member Matthew Eugene, who's with us as well, and I want to make sure that you see how much of a presence we have as we share an island, Dominicanos y Haitianos, en la isla de la Española. Ahora, en este momento, queremos presentar el próximo homenaje a un caballero muy extraordinario, él siendo un hombre de descendencia mexicana. Está aquí de tierras del otro lado de la nación, llegó a Brooklyn y se ha hecho una fuerza increíble. Le estoy hablando de Carlos Menchaca, nuevo concejal elegido para representar la comunidad de Sunset Park, Red Hook, Gowanus. Estamos hablando de alguien que ha dirigido con fuerza de forma muy extraordinaria, porque fue él el que patrocinó la legislación para Municipal ID, que son las identificaciones nuevas que vamos a pedir que toda persona, inmigrante o no, residente con ciudadanía o no, que pueda recibir esa identificación, porque tenemos que también coger de mano cada persona para saber que no hay miedo en el sistema, porque una persona sin identificación no tiene posibilidades de abrir puertas, y esto es para abrir oportunidades. Quiero mencionar y traer adelante el nuevo concejal Carlos Menchaca. He is the chair of the Committee on Immigration. No, I wanted to just say it in English. Chair of the Committee on Immigration, co-chair of the Brooklyn delegation, and member of the LGBT caucus, authored, introduced, and passed legislation to create the first municipal identification card program, and worked to secure funding for the largest public defender program for undocumented immigrants in the nation. Advocate for community involvement in the entire budget, legislative, and policy-making process. Carlos Menchaca, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros.
Buenas noches, buenas noches. It's so wonderful to be here at Borough Hall. I used to be an employee here, and I started here almost 10 years ago. And it's just so wonderful that the spirit of Brooklyn continues with the incredible leadership of our borough president, Eric Adams, and our deputy borough president, Diana Reyna. And I am so happy that the hands of Brooklyn are in your space. And as I think about the last 10 months as a council member, as chair of the immigration committee, the Latino essence is alive and well in the New York City Council with our incredible speaker, Melissa Mark-Viverito, who you just heard, Antonio Reynoso, Councilmember Espinal, and all of us. We're doing some really beautiful things for our immigrant communities, for our people of color, for the people that have been deserving so much. And I have to tell you that we're going to be doing more. and I can't wait to continue to celebrate. So in so many ways, we're going to be earning this proclamation, and so we'll hopefully come back with some more love for our community. Muchas gracias a todos. Es un honor ser el primer México-americano elegido en la ciudad de New York. Es algo que viene responsabilidades. It's a big responsibility that I'm holding, and so I hope that you can all support this new wave of growth for the Mexican community here in New York City, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it together. Thank you so much. Sí se puede.
Vamos aquí. Mi favorito, no puedo decir que no. Presidente y fundador del Instituto Nacional para Pólizas Latina, National Institute for Latino Policy, founder and president, Angelo Falcón. Nationally recognized expert on Latino politics and policy issues and highly sought after presenter and speaker. I can't tell you enough how it is a great honor to be at the same table learning from this man. Serves on the boards of numerous civic organizations, including the National Hispanic Leadership Agenda, the National Hispanic Media Coalition, and the National Congress for Puerto Rican Rights. Co-chair of the New York chapter of the National Hispanic Media Coalition, and one of the founding members and lead organizers for the New York City Collaborative for Fairness and Equity in Philanthropy. This is a man who sets out what is the truth when no one wants to hear it. Angelo, un honor darle este homenaje. Venga adelante.
Well, that was so nice, an introduction. With the work I do in terms of the advocacy, I usually have people cursing at me. Ahí viene ese diablo. I just want to say that I really appreciate this recognition for the work I do, because a lot of the stuff I do is behind the scenes and make a lot of enemies as we do advocacy on behalf of our community. But like I tell people, one of the reasons we do the work we do is because we want to make sure that Latinos are at the table and that we're not on the menu, you know, and sometimes that means, you know, you got to crack some eggs, right, to make an omelet. So I crack a lot of eggs all the time. I like to also, I had a question I want to ask the borough president. When you said you want to go across the river, you want to become Manhattan borough president, or is it, I wasn't too sure what you were saying, but I'm with you. Anyway, thank you very much. I really appreciate this.
Esto es para ti. Thank you. And now, we want to recognize Michelle Centeno, the National Conference of Puerto Rican Women, New York chapter. Michelle, un aplauso, por favor. This is an extraordinary moment to be able to share in the success of NACOPRO, as it's generously referred to as an acronym. And many people don't remember what NACOPRO is. It has helped raise 45 individual $1,000 scholarship awards on behalf of female students of Puerto Rican descent. Works with the New York City Comptroller as Director, Outreach Bureau of Labor Law. She's a recipient of the Somos el Futuro Albany New York Public Sector Service Award, Educational Scholarship Leadership Award, National Puerto Rican Parade, New York City, Recognition Award from the Labor Council for Latin American Advancement in New York, in the New York chapter, And it is incredible to see the Nacopro challenge themselves to say it is not enough to end what is a scholarship opportunity for young ladies of Puerto Rican descent, but it is important that we start teaching what our women throughout what is this great city to be able to understand what is ovarian cancer. And in this very hall, they sponsored an event inviting all women to understand the symptoms because they're so similar to just a simple backache. And it is important that we understand that we are dying faster than one can ever recall. And so le pido que por favor comuníquense con Nacopro, porque son ellos que están llevando a cabo lo que es ese mensaje del cáncer o de que está atacando la mujer, que es un cáncer que no se ve los síntomas naturales como uno cree, sino el simple dolor de un dolor de espalda. Y queremos que ustedes vean que el mensaje de nosotros como mujeres latinas no puede terminar en solamente la educación, lo que es en un salón de una escuela, sino de tú a tú, en un salón haciendo el pelo, a donde nosotros nos estamos poniendo belleza. Tenemos que hablar de estos temas porque si no nos quedamos atrás y nos vemos muriendo más rápido de la cuenta, innecesariamente. Así que quiero presentarle este homenaje a Michelle Centeno, the National Conference of Puerto Rican Women, New York Chapter. Michelle? She's not here.
Actually, this award is on behalf of Alice Cardona, Yolanda Sanchez. They were our mentors, as they were for Melissa Mark-Viverito and Jeanette Ruiz. They were our pioneras, and it was because of them that we are here today. And I thank you so much. Thank you.
We all stand on the shoulders of greatness. And Michelle was just reminding us of that. And she was overwhelmed, and that's why she took a little longer than she should have. But we wanted to share with her. She is deserving of that award because she keeps the legacy alive. And that is what matters most. Now we will move into an organization near and dear to our hearts, moving within every borough with their own passport. Make the Road New York. Accepting this award is Jose Lopez, lead organizer at the Make the Road New York. It is a community-based organization that builds the power of immigrant Latino and low-income communities to achieve dignity and justice through organizing, policy innovation, transformative education, and survival services. The largest participatory grassroots immigrant organization in New York with over 15,000 members, addresses some of the most pressing issues facing New York's immigrant communities: education justice, workplace justice, civil rights, environmental and housing justice, LGBTQ justice, and youth justice. Recent legislative leadership successes include passage of the Municipal ID Card Program, law that prohibits the NYPD and the New York City Department of Corrections from honoring detainer requests issued by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This is legislation that none other than our speaker had led when I was in the council with her. And this was an important opening to what was a very silent conversation. And when this was blown up into the public forum for public discourse. It changed the lives of hundreds of families who are detained against their rights. And so I want to take this opportunity to give a round of applause to Make the Road New York.
Bueno, mi gente, ¿cómo están? Están dormidos. ¿Cómo están, mi gente? Good, good, good. So definitely happy to be here today accepting this award on behalf of Make the Road New York. I see a lot of Make the Road family in the house. We got a team in the back. I see Miguel sitting right here in row 3. So clap it up for all those folks in here. I also got my family in the building. They're kind of, a lot of them occupying the staircase over here, blocking traffic. My dad, his name is Jose, and his hat says Jose. So you can't miss him. But I came, real brief, I came into the organization 15 years ago. I was a little bit shorter. I was still very skinny and still had big ears. But it was the summer of 1999. And for me and a couple of my family members and friends, we were just a couple teenagers looking for something to do. And so when we walked into the organization, we had an opportunity to meet the executive director at the time. Her name was Una Chatterjee, who had invited us into that space and who had challenged us to think creatively about how we can build the Youth Power Project, which is today one of the largest youth organizing arms in the state of New York. 15 years later, I'm still there. A lot of the original young people that have been part of Make the Road New York are still there. And if they're not there, they're doing other big things in the city and also in the borough of Brooklyn. So on behalf of Make the Road, on behalf of all the staff who are here, thank you once again to our Borough President, Eric Adams, to our Deputy Borough President, Diana Reyna, who was our council member, who has been a friend and an ally for a long, long time. And thanks to all of you, and congrats to the honorees.
And now we move to honor Las Comadres para las Américas. Accepting this award, sí, un aplauso, por favor, will be Marcela Lares and Elizabeth Confrancesco. I'd like to ask them to come up and receive this award. And just to explain to you, Las Comadres is an internationally renowned Latina organization empowering women to be actively engaged in the growing Latino Hispanic communities through online and face-to-face networks. Mission is to connect and empower Latinas everywhere through community building, networking, culture, learning, and technology. Currently, they have networks in 90 cities in the US, Puerto Rico, Canada, and the United Kingdom. We are connecting, ladies, in ways that were non-traditional during the times of our parents and grandparents. And today we are able to support one another on a virtual basis. Las Comadres has taken the term comadres to a whole new level. It is global. And that is what the borough president speaks of. It is that we have to engage and support one another, and to know that Las Comadres is a standing organization that will continue to be there for one another. It gives me some deep appreciation for knowing I am never alone. Las Comadres, come on up and receive your award.
On behalf of Las Comadres, I'm going to say we originated in Austin, Texas 15 years ago. We're about to have our 15th anniversary celebration next year. And it's a big comadrazo where women are invited to come and share their stories, their dreams, their hopes. And as sisters, we support each other. We have over 20,000 members. We recently hosted the Writers' Conference here in Brooklyn. And with that, I'll let Marcela say something.
Hi, I'm Marcella Landris. I'm an editorial consultant. I used to be an editor at Simon & Schuster, which is where I first met Nora Comstock, who is the founder and mother, comadre, who founded Las Comadres back in Austin almost 15 years ago. I just want to say a word about Nora. Nora was first told that she was going to be the recipient of this award, and she very graciously replied, "Thank you, but I would rather you give the award to Las Comadres, the organization, instead of to herself." And that says a great deal about who Nora is. A comadre. I'd like to just say, even though she may not love that I'm going to take a moment to talk about her, I will. Nora is one of the people who I admire the most in this world, and I know a great many people. She is the kind of person who can make miracles happen with spit and string. There are people who, when they see a problem, they wait for someone else to fix it. There are people who, when they see a problem, they ignore it. Nora is not one of those people. When she sees a problem, she rolls up her sleeves, she fixes it. If she can't do it herself, she will ask her comadres to help her. She would do it without need for validation or recognition. She does it because the work is important. And I'd like to point out that we can't say that about everyone. So in honor of Nora, who is not here, but in present, physically, she is here spiritually, and through all the comadres that are here who are members. I should mention there are at least 20,000 comadres throughout the world. The work she does is important not just for the Latino community, but for all communities, because we are all one community. And she is one of the few people I know who I can honestly say that when she leaves this earth, she will have left the world a better place. And we can't say that about everyone. So, for Nora.
And if anyone is interested in joining Las Comadres, please visit. Speak to Lizzie, speak to Marcela, because Borough Hall hosted Las Comadres for the very first time just a few weeks ago. And we want to engage Las Comadres to continue to use Borough Hall. That is the gesture that the borough president continues to extend to everyone in this room. It makes us better people, better neighbors, a better community, and a better borough. I would like to take this opportunity to honor Rafael Espinal, who has just joined us. So we're going to request Council Member Rafael Espinal, who is chair of the Committee on Consumer Affairs, former New York State Assembly member in the 54th District. As a legislator in Albany, passed 4 bills, fought in support of reforms to healthcare and immigration, and worked to ensure city and state agencies were providing quality services. He is an advocate for those less fortunate by striving to create equal opportunities for all. And on a personal note, Rafael shared a story during NACOPRO's hosting of a forum to educate and outreach women to teach them on ovarian cancer, sharing he lost his mother from ovarian cancer, and it was a very personal story. And to be able to advocate and use that story to be able to push him, to push legislation in Albany, and continues to do so here in the city of New York, to be able to understand that we have to make it possible for women to have access to health care and the time to take from work to go and get screened and be able to prevent, so that there won't be another life lost, another mother lost, another sister lost, another aunt lost. So thank you, Rafael. Councilmember Espinal, please.
Thank you. Hello, 37th District in the house. Well, it truly is a pleasure being here today. I'm a son of 2 Dominican immigrants who came to this country 40 years ago. And because of what this country and the city had to offer, we're able to buy a home, live a middle-class lifestyle, We're able to be a part of two working unions, 1199, the Garment Workers Union, and they were able to raise 6 kids. You know, and I'm really proud to be here as a young Dominican coming from that background and being able to say that represents one of the growing Dominican communities in Brooklyn, over in East New York and Cypress Hills. And we also have our Puerto Ricans, and we have our Colombians, and we have our Mexicans. It's a thriving community, and I'm really proud to represent and work closely with our City Council Speaker, our first Latina, Melissa Mark-Viverito, which I was proud of support her in her race for a speaker. And I can say that she's doing a great job to make sure that the Latinos and everyone in New York City are being really well represented because of her. So thank you, Melissa, for all the work you do. Thank you, Mr. Borough President. I think for the first time in a long time, he's been to my district, I think more than any other borough president that served in office. So thank you for all the work you do. I look to continue working with you on issues like affordable housing, on public safety. He's out there in the front lines. And thank you, Diana Reyna, for all the work you do. Look to continue working with you as well. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call Ponce de Leon Federal Bank. Accepting the award will be Fernando Lopez of Ponce de Leon. Ponce de Leon Federal Bank opened its first branch in the borough of the Bronx in 1960, established to serve the banking needs of the growing Hispanic community of New York City. The bank now serves the banking needs of the diversity of communities which comprise our metropolitan area, strives to maintain a clear understanding as to the banking needs of their customers and those of the communities which they serve. Our Ponce de Leon here today sponsoring our event with us is down on Court Street. So make no mistake, it's still alive and well in Brooklyn. So come on down, Ponce de Leon for Federal Bank, and accept your award, Fernando Lopez.
Ladies and gentlemen, and I just want to state that, in society today, in our times today, you're always hearing bad news in the media. And you don't always hear about wonderful events such as these. These are the events that inspire and that promote all of the positive hard work and the efforts that are promoted through government, through private industry. And as far as Ponce de Leon is concerned, we're not a large bank, but we're a solid bank. We're a community bank, and we've been in the business now 54 years, and through the efforts of our executive office and all of our branch managers and all of our staff persons, we continue to move forward and we continue to grow. One thing that we've realized as a bank, as a business, is that you have to care about the communities that you serve. You have to be involved, and you have to work with government. You have to work with our non-for-profit agencies. We need to maintain communication, and we need to maintain intercommunication, and we need to work together to continue moving forward. As a capitalist society, that's what we promote. We promote peace, we promote unity, we promote harmony. And these are things that we have to continue to remember. In acknowledging our Hispanic community here in the borough of Brooklyn, in the city of New York, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. My parents came from Puerto Rico many years back, and they didn't know English when they arrived here. Okay, they had to work hard. They had to experience many, many difficult situations in order to achieve and in order to grow. But luckily, they raised 5 boys, and they continue to move forward, and I've done the best that I could as a person to represent my parents and who they are, the Latino community. We're proud to be Americans. We're proud to be part of New York, of the Bronx, of Brooklyn, Manhattan, of our city. And so I say unto all of you, remember that we need to continue to work together. Remember that dreams and our aspirations and the goals that we have to move forward and to prosper, these goals are for everyone. Okay, so we need to provide, and we need to give, and we need to maintain a giving disposition. Today, our bank is experiencing a very challenging time. We're growing, we're expanding. Our administrator and CEO, Mr. Steven Severez, is at the head. He's at the helm of our company. and we continue to move forward. Our hearts are with him, and he's with us. And just to be here today, to be here with Rick, to be here with these wonderful government leaders, to be here with all of you is a blessing. And I thank all of you, and God bless all of you. God bless our city. God bless our country. And let's keep moving forward. Let's keep prospering. And you know that you prosper by giving and by contributing and by being involved, okay? You can't sit in the background. You have to step forward. You have to present your ideas. You have to present your dreams, and we need to stick together. That's the way our country is going to continue to prosper. Yes, everyone? Yes. So God bless you. God bless America. Let's keep moving forward. Thank you, my friend.
And now we'd like to recognize Rick Miranda, Brooklyn, Kings County, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Rick and your team, I'd like to call you up to receive this citation. Rick is not going to talk anymore because Rick already spoke. A long and deep history of service to New York City, advocating for individuals as well as for businesses and their development for over 30 years. Has led the Brooklyn, Kings County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to become a trustworthy partner and institution in helping the small business community in becoming successful business owners. Co-chair of the Northeast Region Leadership Council for the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, board member for Voices in Power New York in Brooklyn, member of the U.S. Senator Kristen Gillibrand Business Focus Group, and member of the Minority and Women Business Enterprise Certification Focus Group, as well as member of the Hispanic Alliance for Free Trade and the New York State Federation of Hispanic Chambers of Commerce. This is why no one doesn't say that they cannot understand why Rick is so involved, why Rick is always making sure that the Latino agenda when it comes to commerce is always at the table representing Latinos and their agendas. Thank you so much for your involvement and your participation here today. So I just wanted to share the Latin American flag that is to my right, your left, was designed by Larry de Arrigo, Peruvian painter and sculptor. The flag was created as a symbol of unity for the Latin American community. The idea was born out of the need to have a symbol that represents the Latin community in the USA. The flag unites all the emblems that represent each one of the Latin American countries, allowing each person to identify with it. All social movements have had a symbol that represents them in their struggle to transform and to create the Latin community united by a common flag will demonstrate its strength and power under a common symbol. Thank you so much, Rick, and thank you to Larry for this wonderful work of art. I'd like to now take this opportunity to draw your attention to our next honoree, Ramona Hernandez. La doctora Ramona Hernandez is the director of the City of New York, Dominican Studies Institute, and professor of sociology at the City College of New York. Her research interests include the mobility of workers from Latin America and the Caribbean, the socioeconomic conditions of Dominicans in the diaspora, particularly in the United States, and the restructuring of the world economy and its effects on the working class people. Member of the editorial board of the Latino Studies Journal and Camino Real, Estudios de las Hispanidades Norteamericanas, a trustee of the Sociological Initiative Foundation and the Instituto Global de Altos Estudios en Ciencias Sociales in the Dominican Republic, and the vice chair of the Dominican Studies Association. Received numerous awards for her work, including La Orden del Mérito de Duarte, Sánchez y Mella en el grado de comendador, the highest honor given to a Dominican citizen. It gives me great honor. She is a wonderful role model and wonderful mentor, la doctora Ramona Hernández.
El instituto. ¿Está aquí el instituto? Gracias. Muchísimas gracias y muy buenas noches. Me siento muy honrada de este reconocimiento. A veces uno piensa que no se lo merece y sobre todo cuando te incluyen con gente tan destacada, tan importante como todas las que están aquí. Le agradezco muchísimo. I am honored, very honored to receive this award. Sometimes, you wonder, particularly when you are included in such a wonderful crowd. The Dominican Studies Institute, it's right here, it's to the left, it's not the South. Someone mentioned the South, but that's the Dominican Studies Institute there. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Borough President. If you cross the bridge, if you go further, further the state, even much further to a house that is white, I still thank you. And Deputy Borough President, I thank you too for honoring me and including me in this wonderful feast. Muchas gracias. ¿Sí?
Gracias, doctora Hernández. La cronología que ella tiene es una librería de muchos documentos de inmigrantes dominicanos que han llegado, han hecho un camino a través de su familia, sus esfuerzos. Y le invito que vayan cuando tengan tiempo, ver y tener esa experiencia de visitar el instituto. Espero que todo el mundo pueda tomar el tiempo para hablar con ella y su equipo que está aquí presente. Muchas gracias. Nicole Dominguez, founder and director of Faith and Hope. Created Faith and Hope, LLC, to prevent domestic and teen dating violence by offering true stories of individuals who have experienced violence firsthand. To educate communities, Faith and Hope, LLC, has visited various communities, universities, high schools, as well as local public schools throughout the United States, promoting and educating communities on violence prevention and intervention. Worked with diverse populations, including but not limited to the mentally ill, homeless, alcohol and drug abusers, domestic violence victims, and their children, as well as troubled and displaced youth. Our youth are lost, and when they are able to find individuals like Nicole Dominguez, who is taking the time to walk the streets, to finding and working with this population that needs us so much, it is without a doubt that she is making her legacy be one of true essence of what it is to be a human being. Nicole, we honor you with this citation.
I want to
thank everybody for this opportunity. I started this 5 years ago because I was a survivor of domestic violence, and I wanted to give a voice for women that couldn't speak for themselves. And I'm getting a little emotional, but thank you so much for the recognition. I really appreciate it, and I plan to continue going through communities and states and probably different countries, sharing my story in hopes of giving women and men a voice when they don't have one. Thank you.
I'd like to now take us to the judicial bench, and as we call up our first honoree as far as our judges are concerned, I'd like to recognize Judge Alan Beckoff of Family Court, Judge Ilana Grubel from Family Court, and Judge Adam Silvera from Family Court, who are here to support their colleagues. I'd like to call up our first judge honoree, the Honorable Jeanette Ruiz, Supervising Judge of Kings County Family Courts. Over 20 years of experience in the area of child welfare, presided over juvenile delinquency and PINS cases in the Bronx Family Court from 2009 to 2012, and presided over child protective cases in Kings County Family Court from 2007 to 2009. Everybody remembers the Nix Mary Brown case, correct? Quiero la atención de todo el mundo, por favor, porque no puedo hablar, porque entonces alzo la voz más de la cuenta. Y en memoria de lo que es tantos los niños que sufren en el sistema, tratando de buscar lo que es auxilio, personas que pueden salvarle la vida de aquellos casos de abuso. Es esta juez que tiene peso encima para saber que ella está protegiendo cada uno de esos niños. Quiero reconocer lo que es nuestra honorable Jeanette Ruiz.
Buenas noches. Good evening. You can see that there are a lot of family court family here in the room, and I have to start, of course, by acknowledging all of them, in addition to the judges that the Deputy Borough President mentioned. There are many other judges here, but one that I have to mention and stand out is Judge Edwina Richardson Mendelson, who is the citywide administrative judge for all the family courts in New York City. So I want to acknowledge her. And all of my other family court friends and colleagues who are here. I'm very, very humbled to be here today for many reasons and to stand here before you. Among them is the fact that I am a native Brooklynite. Yo nací en Sunset Park. And I know I had the occasion to meet our new council person from Sunset Park. I went to schools here my whole life in Brooklyn, went to John Jay High School, not far from here. Was born in Cumberland Hospital in Fort Greene, which is right next door. And so for me, it is especially humbling and an honor to be here in the Brooklyn Borough Hall and to be honored by our Borough President of Brooklyn, Borough President Allen, and by the Deputy. So again, I want to congratulate, of course, all the other honorees. And again, I'm humbled by being included in such a group of accomplished leaders. And I thank you all very much. So have a good evening.
I'm so glad you could join us.
Sorry, I would be remiss if I didn't say there are a lot of other friends and family here. and childhood friends, friends from ACS, friends from many jobs, so I didn't want to leave anybody out, but thank you all.
Thank you, Honorable Jeanette Ruiz. I'd like to move on to Honorable Betsy Barros, Associate Justice of the Appellate Division, Second Judicial Department. Honorable Betsy Barros was the first vote I ever took as a district leader in 2000, the year 2000. And now I'm dating myself, as a district leader. And that to me was a very proud moment, because she was an extremely qualified individual. She was voted into a civil court district, a municipal court district in Williamsburg and Bushwick. And it gives me great honor to see how far she has kept her career going in the highest division of court. Born and raised in Brooklyn, elected to Kings County Supreme Court in 1997, first Latina woman to serve in both capacities. Over the past 18 years, Justice Barros has presided over criminal, matrimonial, and most recently, guardianship matters. Member of the Brooklyn Borough Association, Puerto Rican Bar Association, New York State Guardianship Advisory Committee, Association of Judges and Hispanic Heritage, New York State Women's Bar Association, and serves on the Cornell University Advisory Committee. I'd like to call up Honorable Betsy Barros.
Buenas noches. I just want you to know that Chile is also in the house, okay? I am very, very honored to be here today, and I am very, very much looking forward to working with you in a partnership with both of you. I am very inspired by what you had to say, and our experiences, and we have so much talent here that we don't even know about. I mean, you have touched me today in a really deep way. I mean, we have our comadres here. I mean, if you don't have comadres, you've got nothing, right? But I just want to say, I'm sitting in the appellate division now, and what always resonates with me every day, with every case that I look at, every criminal matter that I look at, every family court matter that I look at, every plaintiff who might not be represented in the best way that I look at, I say we have miles to go, but we have so much intelligence and talent right here in this room, and we need to build bridges, think outside the box like you've been doing all your career, and just get out there and roll up our sleeves, tap into us. Materia dispuesta, okay? And so that's all I have to say, and thank you, and I don't know if I'm the last person, but.
Y ahora vamos a lo que va a ser un aperitivo para ustedes. Ariel Barbouth, owner of Nuchas, a native Argentinian and son of a factory owner. From an early age, he had the mind of an engineer and the heart of an entrepreneur. Nuchas opened a retail kiosk right in the middle of Times Square in November 2011, just 2 short years after arriving in New York City. 2 short years after arriving in New York City. That is remarkable, but that was also possible because of the Kings County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Rick Miranda and his team. And so it goes to show you, when you connect with the people who speak your language, who understand the passion and the entrepreneurship spirit that you have, and people listen, it will open doors and all possibilities are possible. Today, Nuchas has 40+ employees, boasts an additional coveted location in Greeley Square, a popular food truck that won the 2013 Bendy Award, was finalist for the 2014 Bendy Cup, and is a successful catering and wholesale business. 2014 Entrepreneur of the Year Award recipient from the Brooklyn Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to ask Ariel Barbouth, owner of Nuchas, to come in and come to accept this award.
Hola a todos, muchas gracias por tenerme acá. Como bien dijo Diana, hace 5 años llegamos a Nueva York, mi señora y yo, llegamos con las manos vacías, una maquinita para hacer empanadas y un sueño. Una cosa llevó a la otra, aparecimos en la oficina de Rick, una introducción y el SBA, el NYBDC, New York City, todas las puertas se abrieron. Es estar todos juntos. Nosotros hacemos empanadas, no son de Argentina, están inspiradas en algo argentino, pero todos me preguntan lo mismo, ¿de dónde son? Y son de todos, son de dominicanas, son de Puerto Rico, son chilenas, aunque a veces no nos llevamos tan bien, estamos tratando de unir todo. Muchas gracias, es un honor. Espero que vengan a probarlas. Tenemos un poco por ahí.
And our last announcement of the night. Before I begin, I'd like to, I saw that, Angelo. A special waste reception in use tonight. I'd like to explain to you how we are trying to incorporate what is environmental education and making sure that we have an energy audit constantly of this building. And we are working with Brooklyn's SWAB, which is a team of members throughout Brooklyn who work on waste reduction, reuse, recycle. The Brooklyn Solid Waste Advisory Board is currently conducting an audit of the waste stream generated by special events at Borough Hall. Based on the findings of this audit, we will issue a report with recommendations about how this material can be recycled and composted. We do that best in our countries overseas. This report will be presented at a special event at Borough Hall on November 13th at 6:30 p.m. As you know, Borough President Eric L. Adams has committed to increase the level of public awareness about environmental issues in Brooklyn, and this effort is part of that commitment. Our goal is to have all of the recyclable and compostable material removed from the waste stream generated by Borough Hall within the next 12 months. And I cannot tell you enough how important that is, considering in Community Board 1, Brooklyn community of Williamsburg and Greenpoint is host to 20,000 tons per day of waste. Per day of waste. 20,000 toneladas de basura procesada en una comunidad de los sures, lo que es Williamsburg y Greenpoint. Tenemos una responsabilidad para compartir lo que es reducir la basura en nuestro condado, y el presidente de Brooklyn quiere que ustedes participen con nosotros. Esta noche ustedes van a ver una colección muy especial. Después de la recepción, quiero que ustedes vean, sean conscientes y que incorporan ese mensaje en sus hogares, en su lugar de negocio. Es importante que en toda oficina, lo que es comercial o una corte, que por favor mantengan esta campaña por los próximos 12 meses y vamos a compartir esos resultados. Now, without further ado, I'd like to call up a special performance, una actuación de Diana H. Jones Senior Center Bailarinas.
Dice que tengo maña para profesora. Mentira que no tengo nada, que ella solita la que